All right. Welcome, everyone, to the next of my interview series for the Forget Perfect newsletter. I'm excited to have Lance Mann with us. He is the Louisville market leader for Dean Dorton, a 600% accounting firm that is growing and changing and evolving quickly. Lance, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, Vitale.
Yeah. So I'm excited for everyone to hear a little bit more about you. But to kick us off, tell me about yourself and your leadership journey.
I am a CPA by trade. I've got a beautiful wife and four young children under the age
Mhm.
of 12. Leadership journey kind of weaves around. My first, what I'll call leadership role, was managing a jewelry store. I
Okay.
did that from the age of 16 to 21, managed two family-owned jewelry stores in middle, sort of northeast Georgia in Kennesaw,
Mhm.
and then after graduating, went into public accounting. And then I turned back into being just a normal doer of things and not in any form of leadership role with Grant Thornton and then Dean Dorton. Um, and then really picked up in some form of leadership journey when I moved to Louisville with the firm. And the
Yeah.
firm needed someone to try to help bridge cultures of the firms together between our two offices, between Lexington and Louisville, and to try to help us grow in this market. And so really worked on building our namesake in the
Mhm.
community in Louisville and trying to help our team members see the vision for where we were heading in this market.
Yeah, it's been really fun to watch you lead. And also, you're like one of the most connected people I know. Um, but let's get into leadership. What does the word leadership mean to you?
So I was thinking about that today because I had written some notes on these
Yeah.
questions that you sent me, and then I decided to ignore them because I was interviewing someone last week and for a job here at Dean Dorton, and it all started. Leadership to me starts with being a good human. Do you care about other people's well-being enough to help them do better in their world, whatever that may look like for them and their skill sets? And so, in my mind, leadership is caring about others and trying to help them do more and do better, being the best version of themselves while also executing on the company vision and goals.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. What are some of your core values that guide you as a leader?
So, so the best core values that I can come up with in this world was one, humans come first,
Yeah.
the well-being of others. Communication is a core value of mine. I try to pride myself on being an effective communicator, at least a timely communicator. I may not always effectively communicate, but I
Yeah.
do try to be timely in my communication. Family first. Family is more important than a job. And um, trying to do better every year and every day. So I read a lot. I meet with a lot of visionaries like yourself to try to learn what are the things that I can do better as a person,
Yeah.
as a leader, as a
Yeah.
dad, as a husband.
Yeah. I love that. What do you think are some of the biggest misconceptions about being a leader?
I think the biggest misconception is that title is synonymous with leadership.
Yeah.
Titles are given um, because of a job responsibility, not because of your ability to lead other people towards a common vision. Some other misconceptions are that because I'm leading a company or leading a division or leading an initiative means that I'm automatically a leader because you can't be a leader unless people are willing to follow you in some way towards some vision. And so I think the biggest misconception is that title or responsibility or role equals leadership.
Yeah.
Um, and and the other misconception is you have to have a title to be a leader, where I
Right.
think anybody within our company and within your company can be a leader because they're helping drive people to do better and to get towards some common
Right.
vision.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm a big believer that there's a book, it's like what leadership is everyone's business. And I believe that. Like, we're even if you don't have someone directly reporting to you, you're leading with influence every single day. And so I always struggle with the title manager versus leader because I think everyone is a leader. Doesn't mean they're a good one, but
Right.
everyone everyone is a leader in some capacity and has the
Yeah.
ability to lead in some capacity, even if it's outside vendors or your colleagues or peers. Like everyone is leading.
Our first year associates, I've got on
Yeah,
committees here leading initiatives for the firm.
yeah, yeah. Um, so it's been interesting. One of the things, this is not on the survey, this is not on the questions that we sent.
That's good because I ignored my answers.
So one thing I've really been looking at a lot is helping organizations normalize failure and mistakes. So normalizing them, because I
Mhm.
found that it's actually one of the areas where organizations are struggling the most. And so I make a distinction, Lance, between like what a mistake is and what a failure. And so I believe that mistakes are unintentional and failures are intentional, meaning a failure is coming from experimentation, risk taking, trying something new. So, failure is intentional, meaning we tried something new, it didn't work out, but we learned something. And so, helping organizations really embrace that distinction, because oftentimes I think people think failure is like the worst level of mistake. Like it is like the level, like it's, the 10x mistake that you'll never be forgiven for. And so it's been interesting. I've been working a lot. And so I'd love just your thoughts on how to like normalize mistakes and failure, maybe even the importance of it so that people grow.
Yeah. So at the beginning of this, I think we might have mentioned that CPA firm, like most conservative people in the world. With that said, I truly believe we're better because of our failures and not because of our successes.
Yeah.
Um, I spent a year here at Dean Dorton trying to build the world's greatest distilled spirits practice for CPA firms.
Hmm.
I failed miserably at that, but I made a lot of great connections along the way and learned a lot about business
Yeah.
development and learned a lot about trying to grow something that we've grown in a lot of other ways after that time period. I still don't have the largest distilled spirits practice in the world.
Right.
We have some, and we do well in that space, and I love working in that space. But I learned more and connected with more people through that process and learned. And so we as a firm have generally not driven people to take risks.
Right.
That's changing now that we are of the size that we are and we're in the markets that we're in. We're going to have to start embracing failures, embracing trying new things, embracing
Right.
taking risks. And so, what one of our kind of goals are over the next few years is to create space for people to try
Yeah.
things. I just finished the book Leaders Eat Last,
Yeah.
which is a great book. But one of the things in there is a story about 3M and how they have a certain percentage of employees' times is set to taking risks and trying new
Yeah.
things. And some of their biggest discoveries have come out of giving employees dedicated amounts of time to come up with new things and knowing that they're going to fail 98% of the time, but they're
Right.
going to learn something.
Right.
And so, whether it's a unique hire or going into a market or investing in a new service, we're going to try things. Some of them are going to work, some of them are not. And we're going to have to continue to learn from it. So I love that you're looking at that, and I agree that failures are not bad, so
Yeah.
long as
But
you take what you learn from it and apply it to the next thing.
I think it can be a really scary F word. And also, I think what's important is I have like some peers that I've been learning from. Like I have a contact of mine who owns and started a business in Silicon Valley. And so she actually sets failure goals for her top leaders. And so every quarter they have a goal, and especially sales teams have failure goals, right? Because you're selling, try new things. Business development, right, requires that could be a place to have failure goals. And even like I have a client where the leader actually starts his monthly meetings by going around and saying, all right, we're all going to talk about our most recent failure,
Yeah.
even if it's in your personal life, right? Because as I've been thinking about it, I've been thinking about my failures, right? Like my first business that I started as life coaching failure, but it led me to where I am today. I wouldn't be where I am today if I hadn't started that business.
Well, and you met me because of your life coaching business, just to be
Yeah.
clear.
Right.
And I feel like this is successful all around.
I know. It was
But it
winning.
does, and I don't think leaders want to talk about failures,
Right.
especially not to their employees, but to the employees, I think it humanizes them
Right.
and be like, wow, like even he didn't succeed at everything he tried.
Yeah.
And leaders should do more of telling their team members how we tried something and it didn't work. But
Right.
here's what we learned from it.
Right. Yeah. Because you can't have success without failure, right? They go together. And so it means you're taking action. But yeah, I found it really interesting as especially as I'm looking at building trust and helping organizations build trust, like normalizing failures and mistakes is a huge part of having a high trust culture. So it's been interesting to see that. So you are, I feel like, everywhere all the time. I'm like, when do you sleep? Do you sleep? You have 4 children. You're in love with your wife. Like, I love everything about, family is so important to you. I mean, that was one of, the first things that you said. So how do you maintain like your well-being with all of your, commitments?
I set clear boundaries.
Tell me
So,
about them.
and I'll explain that. So my wife is retired and focuses a lot on our family.
Mhm.
Um, but we have, from 7 a.m. till about 6:30 p.m. we know is generally my work time. There's flexibility in that. I'll take the kids to school sometimes and
Yeah,
let her do things, but generally, um, I get my workouts in outside of that time, typically when everybody's sleeping. I do think
yeah,
exercise is important for my mental health. But the big thing that we do is we have family dinner tonight, or family dinners at night, and sometimes kid activities disrupt that.
yeah,
But outside of a kid activity, we're going to have dinner together 4 to 5 nights a week,
right.
and that's important to us. And I make it a priority. So I commit to only being out one night a week.
Okay,
So I only do on average, one evening activity a week.
okay,
So I keep that. It's actually about 50 a year. Sometimes it's two in a week,
yeah,
and sometimes it's zero.
yeah,
But I hold pretty firm to that. I'm only going to do one evening activity a week,
yeah,
and I try to cram in all of my Lance showing up time at coffee and lunch.
right.
So I have coffee and lunch almost every single day of the week, and
Yeah,
I have to have coffee every day, regardless of if I have a meeting, and I have to have lunch every day.
yeah,
So I try to maximize that time, and I also try to minimize the amount of time I spend on things that I don't see as valuable. Like I don't do golf scrambles. I love to play golf, and I play golf with friends. I don't play golf for business development purposes. It's 4 to 6 hours of time, and
okay,
I can have lunch with someone instead.
yeah,
So it's just setting clear boundaries and being intentional for what's important to me. And so work is third on the list of importance for me after family and faith. And so it gets the clear
yeah.
boundary of where I'm going to spend my time.
I love that. Yeah, I've been navigating boundaries and new seasons of boundaries, especially, as with high, increased travel and all of that and
I
navigate.
think you're better at it than most with um, how you're intentional with the time you have available. So when you're with your family
Yes.
and not with your phone.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
that's been impressive to see and read about and learn about is how intentional you are when you are in that time. And I'm not quite as good at being not distracted sometimes at home, and I've got to get
Yeah.
better at that.
Well, I think for me, well, what's inspiring to me about your boundaries is that you really hold to them. I love the only doing one evening activity a night. And I think for you, like the consistency. For me, it's not like I'm not going to be super mom every night of the week, but it's like I have a date night with my son every weekend. I have a date night with my husband every weekend. And then my mornings with the baby are super important and sacred. Like that
Yeah.
is the most important. Like I will wake up as early as I need to. Like I wake up at 4:45 in the
Hmm.
morning just so I can journal and pray and then wake the baby up at 5:30 and spend time with him. So those things are important to me and that's what's working in this season. I would love to do family dinners like you do, but that's I think more aspirational right now in this season of my life. But it's something I can aspire to. So I love that you have.
Family dinners with an infant aren't quite as fun.
I know. When he goes to bed early, so it's really just family dinner with our teenager. Um, so the world is evolving, as we know, quickly, faster sometimes than I would like. What do you think are some of the most critical skills right now for leaders?
Um, you know, I still think communication is going to be
Oh
one of
my
the
gosh.
most important, regardless of AI, regardless of technology and Zoom and remote work. The ability to find ways to effectively communicate with your teams, your constituents, your employees, your friends and families, and all the things, communication, I think, is going to be a tried and true skill set that leaders have to have.
Right.
And AI is not going to replace that. It'll help.
Right.
I was sending emails today, and AI helped me draft the email,
Right.
but I still had to read it and send it.
Right. Right. I think it's
Um,
that idea too that people have been saying, like AI is helpful for knowledge, but not wisdom. Like, how do you then use
yeah.
the knowledge?
And the other thing is people don't follow technology. People follow other leaders who are inspiring in some way. And so connecting with a human being one on one on what their dreams and aspirations are and what their skill sets are, you can use AI or technology to help supplement some of that knowledge or information providing, but interpreting the information and helping you connect with a person one on one is never going to be replaced by technology.
Right.
That's
Right.
why I don't think I'm ever going to be replaced by technology because I love talking to people.
You're connecting.
Yeah.
Yeah, communication is something that I think is the most critical skill. I think it's the most one of the biggest gaps within even organizations in terms of like effective internal communication. Transparency is a huge trust issue for a lot of organizations right now.
Mhm.
Communication can help fill that gap. And so I love that you brought that up because communication is super important. And most of us think we're doing it well, but there's always room to do it better.
Now, one of Dean Dorton's core values are we are effective communicators. And whenever I tell people our core values, I always replace it as we aspire to be effective communicators.
Yeah, yeah. So, you all are an accounting firm. I used to work at law firms, so the billable hour, getting things accurate is extremely important. And I do a lot of work on overcoming perfectionism. And I would say that just the distinction between perfectionism and accuracy, or excellence, is that perfectionism is getting it right, but also comes with anxiety, overwhelm, obsessive thinking that really takes you away from being productive and connected. Whereas accuracy is following the due diligence, getting the right, checks and balances in place, making sure the right people check the data, facts before you send it to clients, but you trust yourself to get it done. And so I wonder how you work on promoting that over perfectionism.
So there's a bunch of people here know one of my phrases, and it's carried me through 20 some odd years in the profession is there are no accounting emergencies.
Yeah.
They don't exist. I've not encountered one yet in 20 something years.
Yeah.
We're not saving lives. We're not solving the world's problems by doing accounting or tax, or we have a technology group as well. Technology does have some emergencies, so I don't throw them in there, but nothing that we generally do as a firm can't be fixed.
Right.
So I, all of my team members, they know full well, they don't have to be perfect. They just have to try their hardest. They have to pay attention to detail because we are in the details business. But we have a quality control process that's over time going to make the work product
Right.
perfect. And so we're going to have 3 or 4 eyes on everything that goes out of the firm. And even if, and we still get things wrong, we're still humans, we still mess up, um, but we can fix it. And if there's a cost to fixing it, we pay for that. And we also have technology with AI does help make us more perfect or better. We can put information through AI that's going to do another check for something that we may not have caught. But I definitely preach all team members. There's no accounting emergencies. I don't need you to be perfect on this.
Yeah.
Other people are going to look at it, but I need to know that you're going to tell me when you have a problem. That's the biggest
Right.
thing is I don't need you to be able to solve all the problems. I need you to be able to recognize there's a problem.
Right. Yeah. I did an interview with Ashley Watt with the Kentucky Chamber, and
Yeah,
she said their number one rule, or her number one rule within the organization, is the rule of no surprises.
I like no surprises.
I don't want any surprises. Like, it's okay if you know what I'm saying. Like you
Yeah,
were just saying, like, I just let me know if there's
right.
an issue that we need to fix, resolve, like it happens, but I don't want to be surprised.
Yeah, that's what, as people get promoted, I don't need them to be the highest technically person in the firm to
Right.
get promoted to a certain level. But what I tell them is I need you to recognize what you don't know and recognize when there's something you don't know how to do.
Right. Right. Yeah. I love that. Um, so trust is a big topic for me, and I think it's probably one of your core leadership tenets just because relationship is so important to you, holding to your boundaries is so important to you. So what do you do to actively build trust on your team and with your colleagues?
Um, I go back to communication a lot because communicating with people builds trust.
Mhm.
Being transparent with
Right.
people builds trust. But just being a human, like a normal person, builds trust. Like if you can have humility, if you can show them that you've struggled with the same things that they're struggling with, if you can show them that you care about what's going on in their world. You don't I was meeting with a team member last Friday and he's been struggling with too much work, not enough time, and that's stressing him out.
Right.
And I flat out sounds like, look, here's what I believe you should do and ask for help and delegate this work this way and delegate both up and down. And, here's a way to go and ask for help on these things. I'm not going to make you go ask for help.
Yeah.
But I believe that you're in a prime position to move this work to someone else. It's not going to be a negative against you. It's actually going to be a positive because you recognize that.
Yeah.
Um, but I can't make you do this.
Right.
And just, and I gave him an example of when I struggled with the same thing. But just being open and honest and, being vulnerable, I think builds trust as well.
Yeah. Um, so something obviously we teach leaders how to overcome perfectionism because I know it all too well. And so oftentimes I'll have conversations with my team and I'm like, I just want to let you all know that my perfectionism is really showing up in this project. You know, like my perfectionism is in the room and it is really loud and I don't need to review this project again or I will totally scrap it and we will start over. So let's just move forward.
Yeah,
So yeah, again, that vulnerability and like recognizing our strengths and weaknesses can be powerful.
right. Perfect is the enemy of great.
Right, right. Um, so um, uh, that's how you build trust. But talk about what you like the importance of trust in the workplace. Like, why is it so important?
Well, I don't believe you can be happy somewhere unless you trust the people
Right,
around you. If it's a people-driven place or thing, you're always going to wonder what is somebody else thinking, what is somebody else doing, what incentives do they have, and so trust is sort of that table stakes to being a happy, successful organization. If you can't trust the people you're working with, you can't really work with them in a meaningful way. I mean, you can do transactional type things, but you can't do transformational things if you don't have trust.
right.
And as a firm, we're trying to continuously transform our firm every 5 years to
Yeah,
something different. And we've done that, two or three times in our evolution. But a lot of it's built on the fact that my partners trust me to do my job. I trust them to do their job. I trust our team members to do their job so that I can go and do mine. I can't be out in the community all day long if I don't trust that all the team members are going to get all the client work done that needs to be done.
yeah,
And so I trust them to do it while I'm out doing what my job really is.
yeah,
And so nothing's going to get done if we don't have trust because we're
yeah.
all going to be focusing on that one thing that absolutely has to get done before we do the rest.
Right. Here's a new question. Do you believe trust is given or earned?
Both.
Okay.
I believe trust should be this is the altruistic Lance,
Yeah.
but everyone starts with a certain level of
Yeah.
trust with me, and to maintain it, they have to continue to earn it. And so
Right.
I don't think I've always heard the trust must be earned thing. Um, but if people are already starting at a deficit, it's really hard to get to a level of trust. Where if you start with that, everybody's in this with good intentions and they're trying their hardest, I believe you're a happier human.
Right. Yeah, I'm 100% in the trust is given camp. I'm always going to give trust. And also, I think when you give trust, people aspire to meet that.
Yeah,
They want to be, people want to be trustworthy. We don't want to be untrustworthy. And so
right,
I'm a big believer that trust is given. And I think it's really important as leaders to give trust. That doesn't mean that you don't have performance conversations. But again, this also ties into the failures and mistakes. Are you going to hold a mistake over someone's head for the tenure that you're working with them? Are you, are you going to have the right performance conversations
right.
and again, like give them trust again? So it's a huge, all of that kind of plays in together.
Yeah. Yeah, there's still an accountability factor
Yes.
to leading others.
Yeah. Yeah, most definitely. All right. So final question. Is there like a guiding like mantra or book or something that is in this season of your life? Like I feel like every season I've kind of got a new mantra or just kind of way of living that I live by. And so I didn't know if there was one for you. You said that you recently read that one book, right? Um,
I did. Leaders Eat
yeah.
Last, and I enjoyed that book. The you did ask what's one leadership book that's greatly influenced me, and I did
Yeah.
write down an answer for
Oh,
that
well,
one.
tell me.
It was extreme ownership
Yep.
and just the concept of owning your responsibility. And, even if one of my employees fails or makes a mistake at something, like, what could I have done to help them be more successful?
Okay.
Or if one of our leaders, fails at something or makes a mistake on something, what could I have done differently to try to have helped them be more successful? As one mantra lately, one of them has been clear as kind.
Yeah.
I want to be super clear with people. I don't want to beat around the bushes. I want them to know where I stand on something.
Yeah.
Um, so those have been two recent ones
Yeah.
that I've been using each
Yeah.
year.
Yeah,
Um,
I've been focusing on the clearest kind a lot too, because
yeah,
I'm big on practicing the things that I teach leaders. Like it's a huge integrity piece for me to practice the things that I talk about and teach, but also to know if they work.
right.
You know, like I need to know if they work. I need to know if they're sustainable. I need to know what it looks like. What are the obstacles? What are the barriers? Like I need to be going through things as I teach this stuff too. So it's really important to me.
Yeah, and I want people to know where they stand, where I stand,
Yes.
where the firm stands, and that just leads to, we talked about transparency earlier. Clear as kind is the ultimate transparency.
Yeah, yeah, I love that. Well, that's a really great place to end. So, Lance, thank you so much for your time today. I really, really appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you. This was fun.